Hi everyone. Thanks for joining me again for one of my album reviews. This is where I get to, seriously geek out about albums that I love in my CD collection. So, if you're here again, thank you, and you obviously want to hear what I think. So I've picked one out today that I just adore. This might even be in my top 20, maybe even top 10 albums of all time. I absolutely love this record, and it is Hats by the Blue Nile. Okay, so the Blue Nile are a band that started in the 1980s, if you haven't heard of them. And their first record was called A Walk Across the Rooftops, which I believe was released in about 1984. So that's a beautiful piece of work. But on this record, The Hats from 1989, they absolutely perfect their gorgeous, sort of slightly ambient pop sound. I'm not really sure entirely how to describe it. Cinematic is probably the first word that comes to mind when I listen to this music. It's almost like Blade Runner in, audio form. It's rich. It's, you get sort of images of neon and rain-drenched streets in your head, and it's all very romantic. And it's brilliant music to listen to when you're driving at night. This is always an album I stick on in the car if I'm on the way back from a gig. I love to put this record on. I just think it's a masterpiece, basically, like from start to finish. Over the Hillside and the Downtown Lights, they're two of the most powerful opening tracks, I've ever heard. Well, obviously, Over the Hillside is the opening track, but to me, they're kind of like a double act, if you like. They're very, very poppy and immersive. They draw you in straight away. And the one thing that really strikes me about this record is this kind of consistent drum beat that it has running through so many of the tracks. It's almost like a heartbeat, particularly on the opening track, Over the Hillside. And there's lots of saxophones and epic keyboards and and the singing from Paul Buchanan, the lead singer. I mean, it is just gorgeous. He is very, very soulful. He's the most soulful singer. Completely underrated. In terms of the 1980s, you probably think of Lionel Richie or Phil Collins, but this guy is right up there. He really is a fantastic singer. So yeah, I can't recommend this record enough. Hats by the Blue Nile. The bonus disc is very good on this as well, and this is a reissue, and they've just remastered the sound so perfectly. Everything just leaps out of the speakers, and you're living inside it. It's one of the nicest reissues I've ever heard. So yeah, go and get yourself a copy of this album. And thanks for listening. Don't forget to subscribe, and see you next time for another album review. Cheers.